We'll start with roll call.
Mr. Zollinger?
Here.
Mr. Stalker?
Here.
Mr. McGinnis?
Here.
Mr. Lamuel? Ms. Clevenger?
Here.
Okay, so 4 out of 5 members are present, so we have a quorum. Just so everybody knows, it'll take a vote of at least 3 of us to pass any motion, even though there's only 4 of us present. So just be aware of that. The first is, next item is administrative items, election of officers. We need to elect a vice chair. The person we think is going to be the vice chair is not here tonight, so we're going to postpone that item until the next meeting, just to make sure he wants to do it. Although this would be a good opportunity to just
Yeah, we should really just
throw it
do
on him.
it.
We'll be considerate and we'll wait. For the next item is the minutes of our prior meeting, which was on August 27th, 2024. Those minutes were provided to us for review in advance of this meeting. So I would entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we'll call the roll for this vote.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Lamuel? Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Stalker?
Yes.
Mr. Zollinger?
Yes. Okay, the minutes are adopted. The next item is the first variance request. I'll go ahead and call out what that variance request is, and then we can get going.
Application ZBOA-24-14, North Canton Library, 185 North Main Street, North Canton, Ohio, 44720. A variance to request for an increase in sign area to allow an electronic message signboard.
Okay, thanks. And we don't have a court reporter anymore, and people aren't being put under oath or anything?
No, just verbatim.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Just so that our meetings are being, transcribed or recorded. So let's try to make sure we talk clearly. Try not to talk over one another, just so it makes it easier to, if it ever needs to be transcribed, it'll make that job a lot easier. So we will first start with whoever wants to speak in favor of this variance request. If you'd please go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then you can go ahead and get going.
I'm Rick Kane from Adams Signs, and address is 1100 Industrial Avenue, Massillon, Ohio. And my name is Rick Kane.
Okay.
C-A-I-N. What we're asking for is a variance for a message display in front of the library. It'll be enclosed in brick, and brick will match what's already on the building. The message display will be used to notify the public of events, show photographs of authors that are doing a seminar or something like that there, possibly children in the summer reading program, just general community events that, a library would be involved in.
Okay, I guess one question I've got is, and this might be for Mr. Van Gundy or somebody from the city, about the Chapter 1151-05 talks about the maximum area of the sign can only be 36 square feet. Does that involve the facing of the sign or the entire structure of this mounted sign?
Chairman, if I may, this is Martin Van Gundy here. In looking at Schedule 1151-05C, as you'd mentioned, the 36 square feet for the Main Street Center would be the sign area. Typically, and by definition, we would not consider the supporting structure as part of that sign area. It would be limited to the actual sign area.
Okay,
EMC.
This
sign. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The EMC area, then.
Well, so we have two signs, as I recall, on this. We have the EMC, and then the other portion of that sign, and I'm navigating to
it looks like the brick, I think you're talking about the brick portion of it.
Perhaps the verbiage at the bottom.
It would be the part below the EMC that says North Canton Public Library, the little art gallery. That would count towards that 36 square feet in addition to the EMC.
Okay. So we're looking at about 4.5 feet or so, and then about by 7.5 feet. Or by 8 feet, so, right, I'm almost 9 feet. 4.5 by 9.
The message display is 31.92 square feet.
Yeah, but it sounds like the sign is bigger than,
Yeah, that's bigger than the 28.
so 9 feet, I'm gonna say 8 feet 8 inches by, maybe about, let's say 5 feet 8 inches. So you're looking at 40 plus square feet. Does that sound about right?
So Chairman, as I'm looking at these dimensions, I'm seeing the lower dimension there captures the EMC of 7'6". So we would have the 7'6" by 4'2". And then we would have to get the area, and I'm not seeing a dimension on the wording below the EMC
Yeah.
on the, perhaps if the applicant could help us out here and give us the dimension for the wording there, we can,
Yeah, the letters are 3-inch letters. So you have 6 inches and it takes up the 7'6". So it'd be, let me figure this out, so it'd be 0.5. 6.
It looks like it'd be maybe just,
3.8 square feet,
how much?
3.8
Okay.
for the letters.
So if I'm adding right, it sounds like you're a little over 36. Not, right?
Be it,
Total.
let's see, 30 plus 31.92. You'd be at 35.72 square feet for both the letters and the message display.
Okay. Then we're within the 36-foot range then, there. The other issue is the 25%. I guess the EMC can only be 25% of the sign. Is that right, Mr. Van Gundy?
that is correct.
And okay. The sign, this is one of the newer signs. I watched the hearing before the planning commission, and I saw that you had mentioned, Ms. Kane, that the brightness adjusts with,
With the ambient light.
right,
You know, like on a bright sunny day, it'll be bright, and then the other side of the pendulum at nighttime, when it's completely dark out, it's about 4%.
okay.
And it does that automatically.
And this will be adjusted to conform with the lumens requirements that the city code has
You know,
in terms of
it'll fit
brightness.
within that range. And we had talked about that at the other meeting, but because it has an automatic dimming feature, you know, you'll always be within that range depending, and again, it just varies according to what the ambient light is.
Okay. All right, thank you. If anybody else have any questions, Mr. King? Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak on this issue? Mr. Van Gundy, do you have anything else to share with regard to this request?
No, I don't. I mean, it's just pretty straightforward. The only thing is, they had asked before, for what the application is at the library. This is really the smallest sign available because they want to do like some photographs and some graphics, you know, maybe pictures of artwork that kids have done and that kind of thing. And if you go any smaller now, it'll be all compressed.
Okay. Mr. Van Gundy, can you hear me? Did we lose him? We can't hear you right now.
I have a question. Is it going to be placed where the sign is now?
No, that's gonna be demolished. It's gonna be more in the middle of the,
Okay.
you know how you have that slight incline? It'll be like right in the center.
Okay.
When do you think they'll install, Craig?
Well,
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference.
be about 8 weeks.
I was just curious.
Yeah, approximately 8 weeks.
Hey, Mr. Van Gundy, are you there?
If you're the meeting organizer, press star now. You are now joining the meeting. Please wait for the leader to explain. You are now joining.
Unknown participant is now joining.
Thanks for your patience.
Can you hear us, Marty?
I can. Yeah, I'm not sure why the internet keeps fading out. Appears I've got good signal, but
Well, I was going to ask you, do you have anything? We've concluded all the discussion here. Is there anything you want to add with regard to the request for the sign for the library?
one of the things, and you may have talked about it when I couldn't hear, and I apologize if that's the case, but one of the items that was discussed at Planning Commission for the conditional use was the setback. And from our review, the proposed does comply with the zoning code for the setback at 10 foot from the public right of way. And,
Okay.
and you know, of course, staff has reviewed it, and staff does not have any objections to the application there.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like if there ends up being a setback issue, we'll have to come back, I guess. Because that's really not, that's not an issue that we were, it's on our, that we were told about or anything. So it sounds like that's okay. All right, I don't know if anybody else has any other comments or questions of anyone. If not, I will make a motion to approve this variance. I don't think this is unreasonable under the circumstances, and this being the Main Street area, I don't think we have to worry about neighbors or residents or anything like that, and this is an adjustable lighting screen, so I think this is reasonable. So I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, we can call the roll for the vote.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Stocker?
Yes.
Mr. Zollinger?
Yes.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Okay, the variance is granted.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. We'll go ahead and call off the next variance item, please.
Application ZBOA-24-15, 1212 North Main Street, North Canton, Ohio, 44720. A variance request for 2 drive-through lanes, the total sign area variance of 8.3 square feet for both lanes, a preview menu board for both drive-through lanes, and 1 drive window in addition to the 2 service windows permitted for a new Dairy Queen restaurant.
All right, thank you. Again, if whoever wants to speak in favor of the application can go to the podium and just give us your name and address before.
Good evening. My name is Josh Drummond. I'm with David Poigra and Architects, and we're working with client SBGR Enterprises. Before we go into the variance request, I was just going to give a brief overview of the project. If you look at the first slide, you can see this is the existing site, the former post office. So for the new proposed Dairy Queen Grill and Chill, this would involve demoing the building and really the entire parking area. If you look at the second slide, this is the proposed layout. You can see from the site plan, it's one-way vehicular traffic coming in from North Main, so there's one egress route. There's a patio area in the front of the building. There's 36 parking spaces proposed. We have a lot, much larger, really, I guess, a green space in the back, kind of creating a buffer between the property to the east and the Dairy Queen. And then you can see the proposed, which we'll get into, the proposed 2 drive-through lanes at the back of the property. If you want to go ahead and skip to the next slide. This is just a kind of enlarged view of the floor plan. This is kind of highlighting the 3 drive-through windows that we're proposing as well. Go ahead to the next slide. So as far as the variances, they're all relating to section 1136, the drive-through standards, but we have it separated into 4 distinct areas. The first is we're requesting 1 drive-through lane in addition to the maximum of 1 lane permitted. And at the last planning commission, there was a motion to approve 2 drive-through lanes. This is really becoming more of an industry standard. It's evident at many fast food locations. It increases efficiency and it really prevents traffic from potentially backing up, which it's unlikely, but I guess during a busy period it could back up to or interfere with traffic from North Main Street. Just going to move to the next slide. Number 2, we're requesting a sign area variance of 4.15 square feet for the main menu board. That's over the maximum sign area of 36 square feet. For this menu board, this is really the Dairy Queen standard that's used everywhere throughout the country, so there's not really a smaller option. I do want to note that the owners, Dairy Queen does have 2 additional side menu boards that attach to the menu board, so the owners have decided to forego that to keep the sign as small as possible. The third request is we're requesting 1 preview menu board in addition to the maximum of 1 menu board permitted. This would be per drive-through lane. The preview board is critical in ensuring the flow through the drive-through. Really, without the preview boards, there would be a noticeable slowdown, again resulting in potential traffic backup, potentially impacting traffic in North Main Street. Yeah, next slide. That's an example of the menu boards at the Ellet Dairy Queen. And so the 4th request is we're requesting 1 drive-through in addition to the maximum, 1 drive-through window in addition to the 2 window maximum permitted. The 3rd drive-through would really be used to maintain high levels of customer service, definitely during busy flow periods. With complex orders, it can be beneficial if someone pulls up the main drive-through, which is the 2nd drive-through window. If it's not ready, they can proceed to the 3rd window location and wait while their order's being prepared. Now, there are designated parking spots that are available, but from an efficiency standpoint, it's definitely more efficient to deliver it, right out the drive-through window. Also from a safety standpoint, it's really more, it's safer for the employee to deliver it through the window rather than crossing the parking lot to deliver the order to the customer's vehicle. And with that, those are all the slides. Are there any questions?
So, yeah, the area, the menu boards, they light up at night.
Yeah, they are illuminated.
Yeah.
So the shade area, the kind of the gray area indicates the signage area that we calculated, but that's the illuminated portion of the sign.
Okay, do they stay illuminated after Dairy Queen closes, or they usually shut them off?
They do shut off.
Okay. And we just had that request on an EMC sign. I don't know if these have to comply with the city's lumens brightness requirement or anything. But if they do they? Do you happen to know?
I don't know if you do. Would you know for the
They have a photo line, just like that level.
Okay.
Yeah, just like this is fine, not this picture.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, and then I'm asking about, and then there's this buffer area behind the property, the kind of buffer from the apartments that are behind it.
Yes.
That area, it looks like you're gonna have vegetation going along the perimeter back there. Is that right, or is it?
Yeah, so there's an existing tree line that will remain, like right on the.
Okay, that's existing, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll, the plan is to fill in with any kind of spots, to fill in with some.
Will that totally block the lights from the menus, screens, and things like that?
Yeah, that's the intention, to kind of strategically for signage and then also for vehicular.
Headlights and things like that, okay. I don't know if this is a question for you or someone from the city, but I did notice that the exit on this, you're allowed to turn left. And that, I gotta tell you, that sounds, I know that you can turn left out of Goodwill, which is the property north of there. But I know there was a traffic study done here. The traffic study said it's okay, we're gonna be okay letting people turn left out of there on the main street?
Yeah, based on the traffic study, there were no concerns.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank on the, is it Rob? Who's at the?
Rob Graham said it would be okay.
Okay. All right, yeah, I mean, that, it's just this, safety obviously is something we have to think of, but that is a factor we have to consider, so I wanted to ask about that. And I noticed, I know that like the city, if there's a backup in the parking lot on the property, that doesn't concern the city so much, but the turning left, and there's no turn lane on this road, so as long as, it sounds like we're okay with that from a safety standpoint, so I wanted to ask about that.
That's correct. I mean, yeah, based on the traffic study.
And just for the record, we approved this similar type of drive-through for Chick-fil-A and Seven Brew Coffee very recently, which is going in up on near the Meyer grocery store, but they don't have direct access to Main. They have to go through the Meyer parking lot, and then there's a stoplight. So it's a little bit different. This request is a little, not quite an apples to apples situation with that. So I just wanted to point that out. Any other question? Anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
I do. Just, so you've mentioned that there isn't an alternative for the board, but is that, I don't mean to be confrontational, but is that entirely true? So if this zoning board decided not to approve this, what would you guys do?
Well, I mean, I know from as far as the Dairy Queen standard, I know that's the only size available.
We would have to go to Dairy Queen.
Okay.
And request an alternative.
Okay.
But there is no alternative listed.
Okay.
On their site or their site plans.
You'd have to go back to corporate and
Yeah.
go through
and
that politics. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The menu that's proposed is just the standard menu, so it's
Sure,
not
okay.
additional, but, yeah, so that's where I would be at a loss. So I would have to contact DQ.
Okay.
So, sir, can you give us your name?
Sorry, I'm Kurt Worther. I'm one of the franchisees, one of the owners of SPGR Enterprises.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, I just want to make sure we have you on the record. Okay.
Those menu boards are at the back of the property?
Yes.
And you did say the vegetation would help.
Yes. In the site plan that was shown, I mean, we still have to do a more detailed landscape plan, so that's more for conceptual, but yeah, that's a key concern, screening.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, you're gonna have tables, picnic tables back here in this buffer area.
Actually, if you go, I think,
Next one down.
The next slide. No, just in the front.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I saw these round things in the buffer area. What are those?
Those are evergreen.
Okay, cool. Vegetation, okay, gotcha, all right. Okay.
Was there consideration given to constructing a fence in the back there to shield the apartment property from the lights, auto lights, car lights?
I mean, it was something that we had talked about. I mean, if we felt that it could be handled with tree screening, but
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, yep.
What hours are you gonna be operating?
It'd be a 10 to 10.
Okay. 7 days a week?
Yeah, 7 days a week, yeah. That's just a standard Dairy Queen requirement.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Anything else to say? Share? Okay. Mr. Van Gundy, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. The development review does include a landscape plan, which that is forthcoming on the full review on that. We can certainly and we'll be working with the applicant on that for the screening as far as the adjacent properties. The other thing, the traffic came up, that was reviewed by the city engineer. There was a traffic impact study performed for this project, and the conclusion was based on the actual numbers. We're fortunate here that we have an existing facility that has some traffic generation counts that were considered as a specific impact to Main Street. Those numbers were utilized for determining, whether or not full access was permitted. And the conclusion was, and it was mentioned here in the meeting tonight, that if it does back up, it will be on their private property. So if they're delayed in turning left, it's going to create a backup on their property, and we have significant space to do so. There wasn't any concern with that, but the full access was granted by the city engineer, and the remaining project beyond that, of course, is similar to the other two. These were reviewed, and here again, staff doesn't have any objection to that, to the project or the request here.
Okay.
And I'm happy to answer any further questions as well.
Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, okay, well, that's good. That's duly noted, and I accept that. I guess I would just encourage everyone here to keep an eye on that sort of thing, and if you find it, making it right turn only might be safer down the road, that you go ahead and do that, because you're going to be seeing a lot of extra with the Chick-fil-A and the 7 Brew going in. I think the amount of traffic we're going to see in this area is only going to go up. So I'd like to, hopefully everybody keeps an eye on all that stuff, and the city is make sure it has everybody aware that everybody is comfortable with the infrastructure we've got in place, and if we need to do something to fix that down the road, that we do it. And of course, with the vegetation in the back, I want to make sure that people in those apartments are properly protected and screened from any kind of lighting or noise or any type of security issue. With that said, I don't have a problem with this request based on everything we've heard tonight. Anybody else have any other comments or questions?
I would agree, and that building's been empty for a long time, so it's nice to have something going in there.
Yes, I agree. With that, then, I would make a motion to approve this variance, all of the requests in the variance. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, we can call the roll.
Mr. Stalker?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Zollinger?
Yes. Okay, the variance request is granted. Thank you very much. We have no appeals on the agenda, so with that, I will do a motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.